I thought I would talk today about my experience of converting to Christianity and coming out publicly. And I compared a little bit to what I hear LGBT people talk about when they come out of the closet. That this has been a very, in some ways, wonderful experience, because there have been people in the community of Christ who have been so wonderfully warm and open and loving to me. But there have also been people who have been really hostile towards me and said extremely unkind things. And some people have said that they can't be friends with me. I am being mocked by people. And so it seems very similar. And what I realized is that anytime you make a major shift in your identity, this is going to be the reaction. There are going to be people who are going to be very loving and supporting of you. There are also going to be people who are very unkind. And so this isn't really specific to the LGBTQ population, and yet somehow our political environment has made those people the victims and everybody else having to accommodate their victimization. And yet there are people like me who come out as Christians who experience the exact same thing, and often by the very people who are criticizing others for not accepting them. I'm not exactly sure how to address this within the sort of the new leftist ideology, which is increasingly saying, if you don't believe what we believe, you're a Nazi. When people say that the left is tolerant, or when people in the LGBT community are saying that they're not being tolerated, I want to point out that they're not asking for tolerance. They're asking for far more than tolerance. They're asking for everybody to believe the same thing as they do. Sorry, my kitty is very interested in the camera. The other thing is that we now have a society that is suggesting that the LGBTQ community, that their basic civil rights are more important than the civil rights of Christians. That Christianity should not be considered even a protected category. Sorry, I might have to pause this because of this kitten here. She's pretty cute, isn't she? We need to really push back on this ideology of love and tolerance that's being espoused, because it isn't loving and it isn't tolerant. In fact, it is incredibly dangerous, because it's teaching that people who do not espouse the same beliefs are not just wrong, but they're evil. So they have become a religion in and of themselves, and a religion that dictates exactly how everybody else is supposed to behave, but isn't doing so in a loving and caring and forgiving way, is incredibly dangerous. So I hope that people who are listening to this who aren't Christian can understand the parallels and also the concerns, because increasingly Christians are being attacked for being intolerant and being bigoted, and their basic rights are being eroded so quickly, while the LGBTQ community is saying that their rights are the ones that are being eroded, when in fact they're infringing upon other people's religious beliefs. And our country is based on a beautiful document called the Constitution, which separates church and state. And that is not to protect the state from the church. That is to protect the church from the state. We need to make sure that we do not require people to behave in ways that are counter to their basic spiritual beliefs, because if we do, then we start to quickly creep into a fascist state. And I hope that my kitten hasn't been too distracting.